So, I've gone back and forth on whether or not to do this video. I'm about to go to bed, and I actually recorded a version of this before several times as I tried to find the right words, and I found that it just wasn't quite coming out correctly. But there's this question that pops up in the comments sometimes, and it irritates me even though it shouldn't, because it's so far and few between the majority of the opinions that are out there. But I see it come up and I feel compelled to answer it. And maybe this is a video that if you are someone who doesn't share this sentiment, you can point them to this video to go, well, here's his response to it. And the question is Jaby Koay doing this just for money? And it comes up more often than you'd think. And I see people defending me, which is great. But it's always better when you can just speak for yourself. And there's lots of you who say just ignore those comments, and I do for the most part. But I still feel that it is important to address it on some level, especially in light of the recent trend. I get asked every single time I do an interview nowadays. I mean, when I get interviewed, how do you feel about seeing all these YouTubers popping up who are doing Indian content now? You set this trend, Jaby Koay. How do you feel about it? And I honestly don't have feelings about it. I just observe them and I see what they're doing. I see how they're doing it. I see if the audience likes them, and I move on. It's just quick, cursory observation, and I keep going. But my hope is that people are coming from a genuine place, because I think that people are coming from a calculated place. People are coming from a place with a specific interest in mind. Now, on some level, that interest is there for everybody, including myself. And that interest is self-sustainment, making enough money so you can pay your bills. When I started out doing the Indian content, I wasn't making money. I wasn't even thinking money. All I was thinking was subscribers. I was thinking, I want 100,000 subscribers because that means that I can just do YouTube full time. I don't have to work at this regular job anymore. I can just share my opinion and make videos that I enjoy making for a living instead of working at something I hate doing. So that was what I had in mind. It wasn't necessarily the money specifically, but just the idea of being free from a job I don't like. Yes, it's tied to money, but I wasn't thinking of it in terms of this kind of greedy, underhanded guy. I was thinking of it in terms of just the freedom to spend my time making videos that I want to make. And the person who gave me that inspiration was my brother. He was doing it himself, though he had his ebb and flow. He was struggling at times, and then he was doing really good at other times. The fact that he was able to keep doing it is what inspired me to really put my focus into that when I was going through the hard time that I was, as sort of explained in the 500,000 subscribers video and a number of other times before that. So for me, India was not a calculated move. It was a matter of, I was actually trying to find a way to further the interest of my American audience and expand that audience. That's what I was trying to do. And I was just shy of being irrelevant. So my brother, I considered him the cream of the crop, the apex. And here is where you start to completely lose relevance, and I was here. At least that's how I felt. And I was trying to figure out how to do something different that no one else was doing. And I thought, well, let me make my videos more international, because not too many people are doing that. And I found those Indian trailers that I've talked about a number of times, and I did that with the intent of expanding my American audience with showing them something different, something new. And instead what ended up happening is a lot of Indians came to my channel. And I was happy to have them there. I was happy to have this new audience. And they were happy to have me. And they kept asking me to do these videos, and I kept doing it. I wasn't the first to do Indian trailer reactions and reviews. There was the Bolly Fools and there was Tama Puck. They came before me. But I think, I might be mistaken, but I think a big part of what separated me from them and why my channel grew at the rate that it did was in large part due to, well, I'm just a different personality, first of all. I'm not being egotistical when I say that. I'm a different kind of person from them. For better or worse, I'm a different kind of person. But my rate of output was different. definitely. Like, I was doing videos every single day. Whenever requests were coming in, I was doing my best to meet those requests every single day. And it was day in, day out. People would ask me, how are you able to grow your subscribers so quickly? And I said, it's easy. Don't have a social life. Literally, all I was doing was making videos all day long, every single day, working out and making videos. That's it. That was my life. And I enjoyed it. And I still enjoy it. So when people go, oh, you're just doing this to take advantage of, like, one thing that comes up a lot that really annoys me is when they go, you're taking advantage of an Indian's need to be validated by the white American or something like that, whatever that is. That really irks me, because I mean that's not my perspective. It really isn't. Like, I'm genuinely coming from a place of, I love movies and I want to talk about movies, be it Indian movies, American movies, whatever. Like, it just so happens that the majority of my audience is Indian, and they are most interested in my opinions on their films, so I'm going to talk about that. And yes, it's my living. Yes, there's money involved, but that doesn't inherently make it a negative thing. That doesn't inherently make it a bad thing. And what I love is when I have people who defend me and they go, is Shah Rukh Khan making movies for free? Is Salman Khan making movies for free? Not to compare myself to them, but the point is that they are producing entertainment and being paid for that time. That doesn't mean that they're only doing it for the money. I mean, I don't know them personally, so I have no idea what their mindset is. I don't imagine they're just doing it for the money. All three of them are well off enough that they could just stop and they are sustained for the rest of their lives. So it's not just for the money at this point, at least in my opinion. And that goes for many of the actors out there who are set for life. Tom Hanks, for instance, he's set for life, but he's still making movies because he loves doing it. So for me, this is something I love doing. I need to, it's one of those things where it does need to make money, though. In order to sustain, in order to keep going, it has to make money. Otherwise, I don't get to keep doing this. So it's not like one thing or the other. They're tied together, but the passion comes first. And I guess what I'm wondering is if that's the same for everybody who is now doing the Indian content. It's popping up all over the place. I'm seeing a lot more people do it than ever before, at least from when I first started doing it over 2 years ago. So my hope is that those people who are now pursuing the Indian audience, like, if any of you who are doing that are watching this, I wasn't pursuing the Indian audience. I just happened upon it. I wasn't calculating it like Mark Zuckerberg in Facebook. This is something I heard a while back, that Mark Zuckerberg was trying to fly internets with Wi-Fi over India so that he could give everybody free internet, because he knew that there's like 1 billion people in India, and that's a lot of people that could be on Facebook. That's a lot of business, potentially. And now we got an airplane flying overhead, or a helicopter. I wasn't calculating it like a business tactic in that regard. Yes, on some level it is business. Yes, on some level money is involved, and at the end of the day, you're trying to sustain yourself, like anybody else, like any of you who, when you go to work, whether or not you love your job, you need money from that job so that you can keep coming back to that job, and so you can eat and pay your bills and feed your children or whatever it might be. So I'm hoping that for anyone watching this that feels or felt that I'm just doing it for the money, I hope I am disabusing that notion. Now, coming back around to some of you guys who are like, well, why aren't you doing more Marathi, more South Indian, more this or that? I try my best to strike a balance. I'm just one person. I have a Chara who's helping me out, obviously. She's working side by side with me all the time, and it's just trying to strike that balance. Yeah, we would love to do more of these, regional films, and we try to work it in. But the fact of the matter is, every time we do it, the views, generally speaking, with the exception of things like Bahubali, there are exceptions. There's always exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, the view count is frankly dismal in comparison, and it's upsetting because it's like, well, I enjoyed that and I enjoyed talking about it, but not that many people are interested in hearing my opinion on that thing. So I have to balance it out. Like, I'm gonna keep doing it, but I can't do it all the time. I can't make that all that I do. I have to balance it with, okay, I'm always aiming for something I'm interested in talking about, or interested in reviewing, interested in discussing. So don't get me wrong. Like, everything that I put out, I try to always make sure that it's something I'm genuinely interested in talking about. But I have to balance, like, between my opinion or my interest and the audience's interest. Always. I always have to balance that. And so some people get really mad at me, really upset with me for not doing more of a specific genre, a specific region, or whatever it might be. And it all comes down to, okay, the balance between Jabby's interest and the audience's interest. And how do we keep the channel going? If the Patreon blew up and was, making thousands and thousands of dollars or whatever it might be, this wouldn't be a question. I could do videos that get 10,000 views all day long and the channel will be all right because of the Patreon. But the fact of the matter is the Patreon is supplementing just enough. So it's all a balancing act. That's what YouTube ultimately is. It's just a balancing act of making sure you're doing something you enjoy and making sure you're doing something that your audience will enjoy. And so at the same time, I'm trying to get my other personal projects off the ground. There's a lot of stuff going on. And just when I think that we're earning enough that I can hire a third person to come on board to help us out with whether it's editing or finding brand deals or whatever it might be, like, it's just this ebb and flow with the income. And so it's like, well, okay, so I guess we can't do that quite yet. And it's this constant dance doing YouTube videos. It's like, I don't know if it looks glamorous, but it's not. I know that to a lot of people it looks easy, but it's not. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of craziness, and I hope to keep doing this as long as possible. But I'm, like, always thinking forward. Like, okay, so what are we doing next? How do we keep this going? How do we keep people's interest? At the same time, we don't want to chase that dollar. I was just at a thing today. Chris J. Alex, who was a guest on the channel several times, or for several videos rather, he brought me to an event, and I was talking to a video game director, I believe. He was a writer, director, and voiceover artist. And he was telling me how some of his friends who used to do video games are now doing Let's Plays, live streaming, because that's where the money is. And it disgusted him. Not because he finds something inherently wrong with live streaming, but because they don't actually like it. Excuse me, sorry. They're doing it for the money. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to do something just for the money. It has to be a balance. It has to be something I'm actually genuinely enjoying. And that's hard to do. There's an old Chinese saying, and I'm sure there's other sayings in other religions, cultures, including India. The Chinese saying is, pick a job you love, you never work a day in your life. And for the past 2 years, even though there's been a lot of stressful moments and a lot of painful moments, it's been probably the best 2 years of my life. Thanks to you guys. Because I've been able to make a living expressing myself, make a living talking with you guys, make a living watching movies and talking about movies, and then finding the time and being able to afford myself the opportunity to make a short film or even edit the old short films that I've done before. Like, being able to do these things is, I don't know, it's life-changing. And I just hope I can keep doing it. I hope that this can keep going. I hope this ride doesn't stop. Yeah, so I know this is a rambly video. I know that it feels kind of aimless. My main thing is just letting you guys know that India was not a calculated move. This all happened by chance. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing that happened. And I'm very, very, very appreciative of that. I'm appreciative of that opportunity that came my way, and I'm appreciative that things turned out the way that it did. I could not have foreseen it coming. And it's wonderful, and I thank all of you for watching. Even those of you who hate me and despise me, like, I thank you for being here as well, because I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you're watching, you're helping, drive up the view count. So, not that that's what it comes down to, but that is part of the balancing act, like I said. So, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about with regards to this matter. I've talked about this before, and the reason I'm talking about it, part of the reason I'm talking about it again, is because new people come on the channel, new people are part of the Koei family, and a number of you have never heard me talk about it because, there's over 1,500 videos on my channel. A lot of you have not watched all 1,500 videos. So I'm certain that this expression of this idea, even though it's happened before, it's a while ago. That video is old, and you can't be bothered to go and find that video. So I'm expressing it again right here, right now. So yeah, I need it to be clear that I do enjoy what I'm doing. I really do enjoy watching the Indian stuff, and there's a lot of cool things that I discovered that I didn't know I was going to discover. And it's interesting getting into conversations with people who, a lot of people in the States don't realize that there's so much good stuff in Indian cinema. They have no idea. And I spend a lot of time trying to convince people and make them understand, like, there's a lot of great stuff. And they're just so reluctant because they have this idea, this preconceived notion of what Bollywood is or what Indian cinema is. And it's interesting because, honestly, I used to be that person. Honestly, I used to be that person who was, like, resistant. I gave it a chance once with Chowdy Chuck to China, and oh man, that was a bad experience. And so I just avoided it up until it came knocking on my door again, so to speak. So I guess I should just end this video here. I'm sure if this was a live video by now, the view count would have gone from 1,000 people watching to like 300 people watching who are just like, oh my god, Jabby's getting boring now. So I'll conclude it here. Thank you for listening to me ramble and talk about this. And if you've heard this all before, I apologize. I don't mean to bore you with the same notions over and over again. But yeah, so that's it. Thanks a lot, you guys. And if you have questions and you want me to do a follow-up to this, I'm happy to answer your questions. I'll try my best to answer your questions, whether it's a direct response or another video. Because I do enjoy talking to you guys. I do enjoy responding to you guys. That's why I have Jabby We Met, is because it gives me a very calculated excuse to respond to you guys, to verbally respond to you, so you can see me, so you can hear me, so you can see my body language, and not just text. Because I always find that whenever I respond in text, no matter what I say, I come off as an asshole. No matter what. There's no right way to respond. Even if I just go, yes, whatever it might be, somehow I'm still, bitter and cold, and I'm unprofessional for responding the way I do. Unless it's like they're being nice and I'm being nice back. But, yeah. So, you guys, thanks so much. I'm sorry that I'm very bad at ending videos. That's it. Closing this out. Peace out.